We're live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, and welcome to today. This is the Friday Night Chaos stream for the 18th of January, 2019. I am your MC for this evening, Scooby331. As you can see, I have a very small panel with me tonight, as apparently every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the internet is off doing something. Apparently, Irv is off doing a domestic thing. Um, Burnside's at some sort of reunion. Time to Speak was able to pick up an extra shift at work, so Time is going to probably be calling it a night by now. So it's just myself, and of course, as you can see, I have Sarah Hatcherby Sanders with me. Sarah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And of course, as you can see, wearing her Scooby suit, we also have Tara with us tonight. Tara, how are you?
Hello.
I'm all right.
Oh, very good. Oh, and Kelt has appeared. We have an American Kelt with us. Kelt, how are you?
Hey, okay.
Oh, okay, that's the soundboard. I didn't know what that was. It sounded like somebody was getting mauled.
No, it's cheering.
Oh, okay, I can hear it now. All right, that makes a little bit more sense. Um, so how's everyone doing tonight? Did you guys all have a good week, or?
I'm tired in general, and tomorrow it's rearrange the living room day so I can have a sewing space and bring a shelf so I can put my sewing shit on it.
Oh, all right, that's good.
Yeah, I had a pretty good week. I mean, I can't complain. I'm still alive.
All right. So they always say you can't complain because there's no one that's going to listen.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? Yeah, me personally, it's been a very busy week, and it ended on a very sour note. I got fucked by the state again. I might not be going to college this semester, and I might wind up having to sue my representative. So yeah, good times. So my week wasn't exactly a particularly good one, unfortunately. But hopefully we can pick it up onto a higher note today. So we'll just have to see how rolls out tonight.
Baby, come on, baby, come to Papa, I'll kiss your fucking Dalmatian.
Well, I know how you feel. The school here tried to fuck me over and tried to say I owe $500 from 10 years ago, and nope, I paid that because that's when I got really sick and had to drop out. And they tried to say that I still owe that money, and with their rules and regulations, they have they waited 10 years to file to either put it on my credit or whatever to come after me for the money. Then they also have to file with the IRS, and IRS doesn't hasn't come after me. I even called them myself, the North Carolina Department of Revenue, and give them my information. And I was like, "Do you have anything from the college?" No, we don't. Yeah, so they haven't submitted any paperwork, saying I owe this money, anything. No. And there is also a statute of limitations. They cannot come after me for that money, and they can't keep me from enrolling. And they was like, "Well, do you have a paperwork showing that you paid this money?" Oh yeah, I have paperwork from 10, 11 years ago. Yeah. Like, no, I don't have that, but I know I paid it because I paid it with a debit card.
Bullshit.
No, it ain't bullshit. I know I paid it because
Phil,
I re-enrolled for the next semester and they let me enroll.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, it does matter. But no, I know how you feel. They When I came back and moved back home and I tried to enroll into classes and they threw that up in my face and I'm like, no, I called the Better Business Bureau and reported them and everything.
Well, this is the same place that I was dealing with, where they had the guy who they assigned to me, and he was actually a ringleader for Black Lives Matter, and he refused to help me because he was saying I had white privilege. So it's the
What?
same exact. It's the same company that did that to me already. So I'm gonna call. I called the woman. I haven't heard back from her. I'm gonna call her again on Tuesday, and I'm gonna say to her, look, this is like the fourth or maybe fifth year, like 2 semesters back to back. So like 10 semesters. You guys have like fucked me over. So what the fuck? I'm obviously like this is the thing. There's no way that they can make it look like it was incompetence on my part because I was dealing with them because of the state, because my last name is very common in the Hispanic community. So all of these illegals that have snuck in here have the same name as me. So I was getting mail in Spanish, I was getting it in Portuguese. Um, I was trying to enroll in school, and there were students who had the same exact name as me all over the county who were going to the college, and I was getting their bills.
Holy shit.
The other thing that had happened, like one of the places I was going to, I was having trouble with the medicine that I was on, and the reason was there was another guy there with the same exact name as me who had no ID, and I was getting his medicine.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And this is the thing. You see, you can't even sue them because New York State will just say it didn't happen. That's actually what brought me on here onto the internet, was trying to talk about this shit. And it just... I try to tell people this shit, and they don't believe me. They think that I'm making this shit up. They're like, they can't believe how crazy it is. And then Ocasio-Cortez gets elected.
No,
Buckle up, Buttercup.
I know that shit happens because my mom got somebody else's medical file and letters sent to her. And because the doctor that almost killed her, because he left galls inside of her when she had her last surgery, and it set up a hematoma, and like she just healed up several months ago. Like it's just been recent, and she's suing the doctor, and the people that is handling it down at Wake Forest, they sent her somebody else's medical file because of they had the same doctor, and they sent the medical file and like and the letter stating that you're gonna have to do something, like they can't help her or something, and it's like, wow, yeah, this shit does happen.
Really quick, I have to address a simpleton in my chat because obviously I'm gonna have to keep dealing with the same fucking moron over and over. I'm not Italian. My father's family was from Corleone, Sicily. We're Sicilian. There's a difference. As for the reason my last name is Spanish, the Iberian Peninsula is next to Italy. They're both, Italy and Spain are both above North Africa. There was a lot of interplay around the entire Mediterranean. My family's root name originally comes from Greece. The family came from Greece, eventually into France, specifically Corsica. I'm following what I read about my family name. There's multiple spellings. The pronunciation of my name is the Spanish pronunciation, but the spelling is specifically Sicilian. Now that that's taken care of, you fucking prets, can we continue? So, now that I'm done addressing the fucking retarded koala in the chat, it bothers me that I have to stop to deal with this, I mean, maybe he should, I don't know, loosen up the straps on his bicycle helmet, and he will be able to retain this shit, and I won't have to repeat it every fucking week. So anyway, from what I understand about our literature, now I don't exactly remember which side of my father's family was which. One side of the family was, if I understand correctly, when you start off someplace and wind up in the other place, so I might be saying this backwards, but the family, last I understand, before they came to Sicily, one side, I think it might have been Grandpa's side, was went from Portugal to Morocco and from Morocco to Sicily. From what I understand, Grandma's family, they might have actually came from Tunisia by way of Malta, and then from Malta to Sicily. Because you see what it was in the last part of the 19th century, right before the turn of the 20th century, there was a famine in Sicily. So my father's family actually moved into Sicily once the famine had subsided because all the land had opened up. So this is before, I think this might have even been before my grandparents were born. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the famine hit in the late 1870s, maybe the early 1880s, and it progressed into the 1890s. So actually, they might have. Yeah, I think my grandparents might have just been born when they came over. That's part of the reason, like the dialect, that I don't really speak it that well. That's part of the reason I was looking into books, because my father's dead 10 years and I'm starting to forget it. But the dialect we speak, I believe it's actually a form of Sekulish, which is the dialect that they speak on Malta. So now that I've cleared that part up, that I have to say this like every fucking 2-3 weeks because apparently the internet's very forgetful. Can we please continue? Enough about Scooby and his heritage. So. It's just one of those things. I read it in the chat and I'm like, really? Also, loser, don't you have fans? You don't have like, oh, I don't know, all these hundreds, thousands of fans that you talk about all the time. Why the fuck are you in my chat? Go play with your fans. Go play in your fucking Discord server. No, you sick weirdo. You got to come here and you got to fucking talk to us. No one here likes you. Get it through your goddamn fucking thick chrome-plated head. All right. I'm going to try not to be so vitriolic. Yeah, I'm talking about how shiny his noggin is. Old gargoyle boy. You know what? I'm sorry. My blood is up. It's not right of me to punch down and make fun of this guy's looks. I'm sorry. God made you the way you are. You're a beautiful person no matter what. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, AP, that I keep making fun of how funky looking you are. That's not right of me to do. Look, bro, your ex-wife loved you. That's all that matters, man. I think you got a couple of kids with her, whatever. You got your little larva there, So, you know what I'm saying? You will love. You got a brood. Rock on. So, just if I sit here and I, lose my temper and I make fun of, how hard you are to look at, just ignore me, because remember, you have a family already. It doesn't matter, what truth I spit. Just do you. So, anyway, I'm sorry, guys. I've had it rough today. My back's killing me, and I'm just in a fucking bitter mood. A lot of pain today. Plus the snow. I got caught behind a goddamn plow, and this asshole, because he's trying to get his paycheck, there's no snow sticking to the ground. It was like a flurry. But this douchebag decided he had to cover my wife's car with, I don't know, about 50 pounds worth of salt. So this was it was a banner day. What about you guys? How's the weather been?
It's chilly here.
Alabama's in denial of there being a winter.
Today was our first day of actual anything like winter, and then it shot back up to 45. That's the problem we got here. Like, you'll deal with Arctic weather all morning, and then all of a sudden it hits like 9, 10 o'clock, and then it's fall weather. I'm not complaining, though, mind you. Usually we get those winters that roll in where, like a cattle freeze to the lawn. So, at least this has been tolerable, I guess, for lack of a better term. We had that one winter, oh, God. I think, it was the same year that we had no, it was before the hurricane. How many years ago was that winter? My God, it's got to be well over 10 years ago now. I remember my nephew was still in school because he had to walk with me to the supermarket. But, yeah, we actually, it was like tundra out there. It was -0 weather, like with the wind chill, and you couldn't leave the
Lucky
house.
bastard.
Hmm?
Lucky bastard in Winter Wonderland.
Not really. I hate the cold. You got to realize I'm not in the continental U.S. I'm in an island that's off the coast, so it's just disgustingly cold here all the time because of the humidity. It gets into your bones.
AP, I have to address something.
Mm-hmm.
He says you live in New York and you aren't used to the cold yet. AP, I lived here in North Carolina for 20 years. Moved to California, lived there for 10, almost 11, and then just moved back last year. You think I would be used to the cold? But when you move somewhere like California that don't know what cold is and you come back, I'm still getting used to the winter weather here. And I grew up here for 20 years of my life. So, you can live somewhere all your life and, still not be used to it.
Yeah. You know what it is? I've worked at docks most of my life when I was younger. When the old man had the crabbing business on the side. And then when I was in high school, I was, loading the fish, like off the boats onto the vans. And I worked construction while I was in college, and I, worked on the side in the tree lot. I busted my ass a lot when I was younger. And when you've done manual labor, even if it's only on the side, but when you've done manual labor and you've worked, you can feel the weather in your bones. And I'm thankful that this winter has been mild. It just pissed me off that this dickbag decided, hey, okay, I'm just going to pretend that it's a blizzard, and I'm going to cover the ground with, 3 pounds of salt. But even better, let me just aim higher, so instead of getting the ground, I'll get the hoods of all the cars that are passing me. And this fucking guy just completely painted the car with friggin' salt. I was in a snarling mood all morning because of it. Fucking bastard.
I went to New York once in 1981, and I just did not feel safe.
Was that Stewie?
No.
Sounded like him.
No, I know it sounded like him, but it wasn't Stewie.
Oh, cool. My only other thought would be David Hyde Pierce.
That's the guy that played on Frasier.
Yeah. I used to get a kick out of him. I actually really enjoyed that show.
I did too.
Well, I used to watch it to teach myself how. You can see I kind of failed, but I used to watch it to try to teach myself how to not talk with this accent.
I like hearing that accent.
I don't like it. I've been trying to lose this for years.
Well, I live in either here at Ebonics or Redneckistan.
You know what it is? I've been trying for years to lose this. I'm actually concentrating right now to try to not talk with the accent, and I'm failing at it. Like, if you came into my neighborhood and if you talk to like half of the people here, you'd be like, holy shit, you don't have an accent compared to them. Like, I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier. My boy, Georgie Porgy. I hit him up. I'm like, Georgie, how are you? He's like, yo, Scoob, what's up, brother? How you been? I ain't talked to you in a minute, bro. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing good, man. How is everything? Oh, everything's good, brother. Everything's good. It could be expected. God bless. How's things? How's your mother? Well, Mom's good. How's your... my mother's a fucking cunt. What you gonna do, though? You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. That's how everyone around here talks. So I took voice and diction lessons back when I went to Nassau. What it was, I think I told you guys, I was when I was in Nassau Community, I was working at the radio station there. I think that was WNYG 90.3 FM, Garden City, New York. And while I was taking the radio course, when I was doing the DJing on the college radio, they were giving me a hard time. I remember the guy's name. God, what was it? It was Mitch, almost like Mitch Hedberg, but the guy's name I think was Mitch Greenberg, if I'm not mistaken. You gotta remember, I'm going back to, my God, 98. So I'm going back 21 years ago. And when I was taking the class, excuse me, I keep saying taking the class. When I was doing the DJing on the radio, they actually, Mitch gave me a hard time about taking an acting class specifically so I could learn enunciation and voice and diction. So I said, all right, I'll take it. And he had me take the class, and I'll never forget it. The professor's name, his name's Professor Victor Abravia. I'm not sure if he's still at Nassau, but the reason I mention him is his class was actually, and I only know because he would tell us every fucking class, that his class was one of the ones that Lauren Michaels would come from Saturday Night Live and scout his acting class for talent. And one of the people that got scouted out of there, and he would always point it out because a few of them, I think Eddie Murphy was his student at one point. Christ, a few of the other ones I can't remember offhand. But the one he always pointed out was Jim Brewer. And he would always say, yeah, but Jim, you're not funny. And I remember whenever we would leave class, we'd all say to each other, he's sitting there talking about how Jim Brewer ain't funny. Meanwhile, Jim Brewer's got money. You know? But I remember when I was taking the class with him, this is actually funny. I remember this. There was this guy in my class. He was Chinese American. And you know what? People can say, oh, Scooby, you're doxing the guy on air. The guy's name, you see, which you can really go look this guy up if you want to, but I'm sure you're going to find a few of them. He told us his name, and we really tried not to laugh. The poor bastard's name was Wing Wang. Yeah.
That's his legal name?
That was his legal name. His family name was Wang, and his family named him Wing. Yeah.
That was great for him.
Yeah. So I even said to him, and he goes like this, he's like, fuck you, Scooby, because I go like this. I go, Wing, can I ask you a question? He said, what? I said, please tell me your middle name isn't Juan. Wing Wan Wang. Yeah, he didn't appreciate that. But
was it?
Probably. No, it wasn't.
Was it?
No, I never got it out of him. All he told me was, he's like, go fuck yourself. I'm like, okay. Because he used to tell me all the time. He's like, yeah.
I just think that's an admission of guilt. See if you can work it out in that way.
Well, to be fair, I was, I think maybe, let me see, it was 98. I was probably like, how the fuck old was I in 98? I was 19 at the time. Yeah, I probably wasn't thinking that far ahead. He's like, fuck you, Scooby. I chuckled and went about my day.
Jesus H. Christ.
At least his first name wasn't Deep.
It's funny because, were we talking about it last night on the air or the other night? The 92 Free show I went to with what's his name from K-Rock? Yeah. I went with one of the girls from that class. And from what I understand, she actually, somebody had told me this. I never looked for her because I'll be completely honest. I didn't particularly find her to be overtly pretty. She just said, you got an extra ticket? I said, yeah, sure. And she came with me. She left with some other guy. One of my boys is like, oh, that girl you brought with you, she left with some other guy. I'm like, we weren't a couple. He goes, oh, why'd you bring her then? I go, well, she asked me if I had an extra ticket. And I said, sure. He's like, oh, all right, but you weren't with her? I said, well, fuck it. I mean, the girl wants to come with me. I mean, if she gets loaded later and I get some, why not? I mean, might as well bring it. I said, but she was so incorrigible. I'm glad she left. I didn't know how annoying she was until we took the train in together. But I think somebody told me she had gotten into adult film because she had a really nice figure, but she had the ugliest teeth. You ever see when they got teeth? No, I don't know if she was British, to be honest. She had an Irish first name, and she was a blonde. But she had teeth. They were really round. They looked like, stacks of sweet tarts. You ever see when a chick has really pegged teeth?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she had really, really pegged teeth, and she had like a really big honking nose like Scarlett Johansson. Just didn't do it for me.
Scarlett Johansson has a big nose?
Yeah.
She has a really round nose. It's bulbous, like a baked potato. I swear to God, if you reached out and gave her nose a honk, it would make a noise like a bicycle horn. Well, you know what it is to be,
Get out me a charge for what?
to be completely fair. The only reason that they gave Scarlett Johansson that role is because she's got a great caboose and she looks good in those leather pants. You know? It's the only reason that they went with what's his name, Blondie for Captain America. But you know what? His personality is so stiff. He plays a great Steve Rogers. You want to go outside, Patches? Okay. Go ahead. Go chase the hobos.
Who's doing Morse code or something?
I have no clue.
That might be my boots because I'm walking back and forth to the kitchen.
Oh,
Is that what
Now
you
that
hear?
you're
You like
tap dancing.
to me it
What is
sounds
that?
like Morse code.
what, the clumping?
It was like did.
Yeah, that's my boots. You gotta remember, I'm 230 and I wear size 14s. So
You sound like Shirley Temple walking around the building.
it's my nature. I can't stand still for too long. I'm very hyper.
I'll be watching you.
Let me see. Is this lunatic still in our chat? Let's check.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All you talk about is your heritage, fool. You brought it up. I don't particularly like to talk about my heritage because it gets lampooned to shit. Seriously. Look at Hollywood. Look at how they portray us. Nah, I'm good with that, thank you. I like talking about being an American. It's more important. You know, that's part of the reason I don't speak the language, really, is because my father wanted me to be an American. He wanted me to speak English. You know? That's usually, like, this is the thing, like, growing up here, most people who immigrated here, you know, they wanted their children to be Americans. This is why, you know, like, when I went down to, that's part of the reason I went down to Moore. The first year I was at Moore, they were all yelling at me about the immigrants and the diversity and this, that, and the third, and I tell them, yo, I was raised to speak English, as was most of the people in my neighborhood. We all left it behind when we came here. You know, that's how it is in the neighborhood. And, you know, that's the one thing I will say this, and I hate, you know, I point the finger, but the Latin community and the Jewish community, they kept their language, you know? I mean, fuck, how many Asian Americans, you know, you go up to them and you start trying to talk to them, like, hey, I know Chinese, and they'll look at you like, I have no idea what the fuck you're saying. I was born in Fresno, you know? Like, those two communities always kept their language, and that's one of those things where I'm not going to sit there and knock them for it. You know, I mean, because, yeah, we've kept it in our community, too, but not as prevalent. I mean, you know, Aunt Bernadette comes over here and starts rattling at me. You know, I got to sit there and concentrate for a few minutes to understand what the hell she's saying, because it's been years since I've heard it spoken. I barely spoke it even when I heard it all the time. So, but I would go down to Moore, and that's what I would tell them when I was down there. Like, you know, look, it's not us. We all want, you know, this is at least the ones who were, you know, like here when I was a kid and everything, we all want what you guys want. It's these new people that once Clinton started bringing them in, you know, once he took that shit that Teddy Kennedy did back in '64 and ran with it, that's when shit went out of, you know, got out of control. Because you guys are a little bit young, you don't remember. I remember when I was a kid. I think it was '85 is when that war broke out in El Salvador. That's when they started having that influx of refugees coming in here. You know, it was, as I remember, I think you know, I don't know if we did intervene. I don't want to misspeak because I was a little boy at the time and my brother was overseas. Now, if the Marines did intervene, he might have been down there. I know he went down to Puerto Rico for the riots. Because I think I told you guys, I asked him what his favorite thing was when he was in the Corps. And he said shit on a shingle, which is creamed beef on rye toast that they would serve on Sundays. He's like, yeah, I read up 3 times for that. Sick asshole. But I said, okay, other than the chip beef, I said, what was your favorite thing when you were over there? He said, oh, easily the riots in Puerto Rico. So it was so much fun. They'd come up to you with their protest signs. He's like, I just rifle butt the shit out of them. They'd be lying in the floor in the fetal position. I'm like, yeah. Wonder why they didn't let you back in for a 4th tour. But, you know, one of the things, and I think I said this in one of my first videos that I did, about, I I called it diversity is our crutch. And what I meant by that was I have no problem with diversity. You know, I'm mixed. My sister married a Jordanian man. My one nephew, he married an Albanian Muslim, and she's a sweetheart of a girl. I got my two sister-in-laws. They're bull dykes that ride Harleys with mullets, and they have fucking thick leather jackets that they wear. And they're the nicest ladies. You know, I grew up around that. My best friend around the corner was Jewish. I used to bust his balls all the time on Thanksgiving. I said, "How the hell do you guys get the turkey kosher?" You know. At one point, I dated a Hindu girl. You know, I mean, I dated a Peruvian Indian too. I mean, that was really cool. I used to tell her all the time. I said, "Can we ride your llama?" You know, like I grew up around all that diversity. And what I said in the video was, it's not right for us on the coast, that is New York and Southern California, because just for anyone who has been, I don't know, on Mars for the past couple of centuries, New York and California have been for the most of the country's existence the two biggest ports. During the gold rush, that's when San Francisco became a big port over there, and that's part of the reason you had such an influx. All the people coming from Asia, all the people coming from Russia, they would come through California because instead of just crossing the entire continent to then go through London to get to New York, it was just easier for them to land in California. So that's the reason California and New York have always been diverse, because that's where people would land first. And Louisiana to a small part, but I digress. And one of the things I wanted to stress in that video that I made was that just because where we live is diverse and it works for us, we don't have the right to try to force the rest of the country to adhere to what we do, how we live. I don't like, now I've never been there, and this is my point. I don't like the way that people live in Wisconsin because it's not on the coast and it's not a place where I've ever been. Nothing against Wisconsin. So just like I personally would not want to live like somebody in Wisconsin, I don't see where my fellow New Yorkers get the balls to say, well, we have to make the people in Wisconsin live like us. It's not right. It's nervy and rude. It's the problem I have when they sit there and they talk about this diversity shit. I say to them, you know what? If you live in a mixed neighborhood like I do, yeah, I agree with you. But if you're going and showing up in some neighborhood and everyone there looks like Ken and Barbie and they've looked like this for 50, 60 years and, you know, whatever, even longer generations, you know, if they've looked like this for centuries, who the fuck are you to go there and fuck with them? That's my opinion, you know, like, seriously, why the fuck are the people who live here by me and the people who live in California deciding they have to go all over the country and fuck with everybody else?
Because nobody has good history.
Yeah, like, you know, like, why the fuck?
On the left side of history, but hey.
Yeah, like, why the fuck are the people down by Sarah trying to do this shit with the trans bathroom? Where the fuck are the tranny people in North Carolina?
There are tranny people. They are.
Well, I'm sure now because it's the new.
No, there have always been tranny people here.
To that extent?
Yeah.
I mean, to the extent like around by me. That's what I'm saying. That
yeah.
you mean, like, really? There's a lot of trans people. That's amazing. I just wouldn't picture them, you know, fighting during the Civil War wearing garter belts under their clothes, but whatever. You know? Like, well, actually, I'm sorry. I'm mixing up the cross-dressers with the transsexuals or whatever. Point being, this is the thing. I should not have a guide. I shouldn't have to need a guidebook to navigate through society if I go to a fucking bar. Like, hello, sir, madam, or flip through the pages. Let's see what else you are that I can identify you as. No, what the fuck? I shouldn't have to do that. I'm getting old. That's what the problem is. Like, I'm shocked. I didn't think that there was a large trans community down in Carolina. Live and learn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. I think I told you when they used to have RuPaul's Drag Race. Is that still on the air? RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah.
All right, it's been on the air for years now. My God, is it really 13 years ago? Yeah, 13 years ago. I think it was 13 years ago when I went to the Scratch DJ Academy in Lower Manhattan. I mentioned that before. And when I would leave the academy, there was this bar right down in Lower Manhattan, in the Village, about 2 or 3 blocks away. I actually, you know what? I'm gonna have to look up the address again for the academy and just go there and try to see if I can navigate by memory to get to this bar. Because you would go into this bar, and this is the thing, it had as like just, I guess, display prop pieces. They were put in like cages, so you couldn't obviously go and touch them. Like these big old fashioned wrought iron prison cages were just sitting in the middle of this bar on the hardwood floor. And in the one cage was an Iron Maiden, and in the other cage was a giblet. For those of you who don't know, a giblet is, it looks like straps of leather with studs on it and a chain that suspends it. And what they do is they put you in this giblet and they hang you from it, and your own body weight slowly crushes you to death.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what they had in this bar. And the theme and the motif of the bar, it kind of resembled the bar that was in An American Werewolf in London. And it was really cool. And the best part is, it was in this part of the Village in Lower Manhattan. And you'll not see this too often in Manhattan, but you will see it once in a while. And this is the first instance that I had ever actually seen with my own eyes, because I never went around looking for it. But you'll see in this particular spot all of the tall buildings, and then there's a gap in between them. And you look at the gap, and right in between the two tall buildings is a little cottage with a white picket fence around it and a little yard. It's a house that's been in this family for generations, and when they were building Manhattan into all skyscrapers, they refused to sell. So it's like literally the last house on the block. It's all skyscrapers, and then this little cute little ranch house. It
Kind of
looks like a cot.
kind of like the house from Up, that Disney Pixar movie.
Exactly, exactly. Yes, that's exactly what it is, and it's still there. And I guess this family's had it for generations. And I'm curious as to hell, how much do you think this house has to be worth at this point?
I have no idea.
A little, like a little cottage in the middle of Lower Manhattan in the Village. You know what? I think I just gave myself an idea for the next time I'm in Manhattan. If one of you guys, the three of you should have good memories. If one of you guys could remind me, next time I'm in there, I'm going to try to not only find that bar, I want to try to see if I can film that house, because it's mind blowing. It actually reminded me of, there was this Disney cartoon back in the day of the same sort of thing, from the 50s, where it was this little house, and it was in Manhattan. And then all of a sudden, it was when Manhattan was the countryside, and they show as Manhattan slowly progresses, and the house is the only one left on the block. And it was one of those happy ending stories, because they show up with like crowbars and everything, and they pry the house off the foundation. And the house, you think they're taking it away to scrap it, and it turns out they take it up into the Hudson River Valley and put it on a plot of property. It was one of those stupid Disney feel-good movies, because the house is actually, like sentient in the cartoon. So I gotta find that cartoon and show it to you guys. It's actually really adorable. Yeah. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, next time I'm in Manhattan, I'll I'll go look.
Where is the house that they used for Up? I know it's based on a true story. Let's see. The house used in the movie.
Is it a ghost movie?
No, Up. No, it's a Disney Pixar movie.
What, Up?
Yeah.
What about it?
I was trying to see where the house was. This one's in the Up house is located just south of Salt Lake City, Utah, in a quiet residential neighborhood. Let's see.
You guys there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, all right. You guys got quiet. I thought I lost you for a minute.
No. Movie based on the real Up House floating to the big screen. The true story behind the Seattle house that has been linked to the Pixar adventure Up is heading to the big screen. So this article says it's in Seattle, but the other one said it was outside of Salt Lake City.
What the
Up House? I'm reading this from theguardian.com. It's crazy. This little house and all these buildings just built around it. It says this house became the center of an unlikely story when the elderly Macefield stood her ground against developers who bought all the homes in the neighborhood for redevelopment. She reportedly turned down $1 million to continue living in her home, which had been standing for 100 years. It says the comedy drama will focus on the unlikely friendship that grew between Macefield and the superintendent of the building project. Macefield, who died in 2008, left him the house in her will. And it says Macefield's story bears similarities to the Pixar's Oscar-winning hit Up, which revolved around an elderly man who refused to let developers destroy his home. Pixar have denied that the house was an inspiration, explaining its film was in the works since 2004, 2 years before Macefield was approached about selling. Of course, they deny everything. Just like Disney denies stealing the person who created the original Lion King, but it was called something else.
Simba the White Lion.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And they give him a cease and desist order.
Huh?
They were going to sue him if he didn't cease and desist.
Sue who?
The guy that created because they said that Disney said that he ripped them off.
They're going to sue a guy in Japan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I was talking about this with somebody several months ago. Yeah, they told him. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see.
I don't see how Disney could have a claim because it came from 1950.
Well, I'm watching these morons in the show. It's
for decades. Kimba the White Lion originates from 1950.
Yeah, well, they said that.
And they made the anime in 1965.
Which anime?
Kimba
the White Lion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that when I was a kid. They would show like that one and what was it, Davy and Goliath? Like they'd show all that stuff on like Sundays. Simba, that's like an old legend. Wasn't that like a book that was written back in the day, if I'm not mistaken?
Let's see. Okay, which was serialized in the Manga Shonen magazine from 1950 until April 1954. It began airing in North America from 1966. Let's see. The Lion King controversy. Here it is. As a number of media journalists and fans watched Disney's animated feature, The Lion King, they noticed characters and events in the story resembling those of Kimba. Although the two works follow different screenplays, there are strong artistic similarities, and The Lion King contains numerous sequences that closely match Kimba's. Other similarities are thematically deeper and more pronounced, such as that both feature the theme of the circle of life. Alleged similarities in the characters beginning the protagonist lion cubs, Kimba and Simba, include the evil lions, the one-eyed Claw and Scar, the sage baboons, Daniel Baboon and Rafiki, the animated birds Polly, Cracker, and Zazu, and the pair of hyena sidekicks. It was a trio in the Disney film. The Lion King co-director Rob Minkoff deflected criticism of similarities in the characters by stating it was not unusual to have characters like a baboon, a bird, or hyenas in the film set in Africa. Matthew Broderick has said that when he was hired as the voice of adult Simba in The Lion King, he presumed the project was related to Kimba the White Lion. I thought he meant Kimba, who was a white lion in a cartoon when I was a little kid, said Broderick. So I keep telling everybody I was going to play Kimba. I didn't really know anything about it, but I didn't really care. Animators Tom Sito and Mark Kausler, who both have story credits, have admitted to watching Kimba and assumed many of their colleagues had too, especially if they grew up in the 1960s. Let's see. Let me go on through here. Let me skim through here. It says, upon the release of The Lion King in Japan, multiple Japanese cartoonists, including Machiko Satonaka, signed a letter urging that Walt Disney Company acknowledge due credit to Jungle Emperor Leo in the making of The Lion King. 488 Japanese cartoonists and animators signed the petition, which drew a protest in Japan where Tezuka and Kimba are cultural icons. The Lion King director Roger Allers claimed he remained unfamiliar with Kimba throughout the production until his film was nearly completed. However, Allers had previously lived in Tokyo and worked in animation there during the 1980s when Tezuka had already become known as Japan's Walt Disney, and a remake of Kimba was airing on Prime Television. Co-director Rob Minkoff also claimed he was unfamiliar with Kimba. The Tezuka-Disney connection extends back decades before the movie. Tezuka met Walt Disney at the 1964 New York World's Fair, and Disney said he hoped to make something just like Tezuka's Astro Boy. And then it says Fred Ladd, who was involved early on with importing Kimba and other Japanese anime into American for NBC, expressed incredulity. I can't pronounce it. Incredulity that Disney's people could remain ignorant. Ladd stated that there was at least one animator remembered by his colleagues as being an avid Kimba fan and being quite vociferous about Disney's conduct during production.
What does vociferous mean?
That I do not know. Let's see what vociferous means. It's especially of a person or speech, vehement or clamorous. Outspoken, synonyms: outspoken, vocal, forthright.
Okay. So he's quite vocal about it.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like a big thing. They said, that Disney had ripped off them, and it was a big uproar.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Disney was ballsy enough to try and sue them for ripping them off. There's no in hell they would have won.
Let's see. What else does it say? Special use. What is that noise?
Sounds like an engine.
Yeah.
I have a fan blowing on my laptop to keep it
Oh,
cool.
okay.
Because remember, the fan in my laptop is dead.
And
Yeah,
that part does not keep cool.
No, you were here when our AC was busted, remember?
Oh, they got it fixed?
Yes, they replaced the entire fucking unit.
Why? It's the middle of the winter, isn't it?
Our winters are like Chicago's fucking summers.
But I know, like, with the whole Kimba and thing, that either it was Japan went after Disney or Disney went after. But it was just a big uproar. And if you look at Kimba the White Lion and the Lion King, you can see a lot of similarities. Like, guys, you know y'all fucking Disney, y'all know y'all fucking ripped off Kimba the White Lion. Yeah, you changed up a few things and changed a few names and added here and there, but you know you got your fucking shit from, you know, Japan. And it's like, oh, we're gonna make this and pass it off as our own. Like, oh, we had this idea all the time. Like, Disney's always ripping off fucking people. It's like, no, give credit where credit's due.
Star Trek wants to rip off another show too.
What?
Star Trek wants to rip off another show.
What show was that?
Babylon 5 versus Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well, no, like the guy who made Babylon 5 went to the company that does Star Trek and tried to pitch his show, and they denied him, and then made Deep Space Nine. I mean,
Wow.
two characters share the same name. Like,
Wow.
there's two characters in each show.
Alright, that
share the
sucked.
same name.
What happened?
My computer crashed. It's a piece of shit. I need a new one. Just had it said it has a tendency to do that. Sorry.
No.
I like a little killing now and then. What's wrong with that?
So. Yeah.
Well, what did I miss?
We were talking about, you know, the
Kimba.
Kimba the Lion.
Disney ripping off Kimba the White Lion. Star Trek ripping
Yeah.
off Babylon 5.
Yeah, I think that's where I fell out. Was right when you guys were talking about Star Trek.
Let's
What is that? I hear like it sounds like a motorcycle or like an outboard motor.
It's the fan.
Oh, okay.
I have a fan keeping my laptop cool. Remember the internal fan busted?
Oh yeah. Ghetto fabulous, baby. All day.
Hey, as long as it fucking works.
Yeah, no, hey, I ain't knocking it, not at all. So, let me see. Has anyone heard anything about the movie Glass yet that just came out?
Mm-mm.
I heard it wasn't that good.
Really?
Yeah. Haven't seen it.
No, I'm curious because my wife wanted to go see a movie and we were talking about going to see Glass because our anniversary is like in a week.
Yeah.
So we were thinking of doing something for that, you know, like related to it anyway. So,
Well, also, if you're not a fan of the Invincible, or excuse me, Unbreakable, Split, and you know, so on, the comics to these, you're probably not going to like the movies.
I liked Unbreakable. I never got the chance to see Split. So I want to see both of them again before I go see this one.
Fuck your gay ass very faggot accent.
Yeah. Like, I've heard that Glass wasn't that good, but I've also heard that Transformers wasn't good. And I've seen Transformers.
You just mad you didn't think of it.
Yeah, it depends which Transformers you're talking about. I didn't care for.
The
I don't
Michael
even know
Bay
what number
movies.
they're. I think what is it? There's like 6 of them. I can't remember which one we were up to at this
6 or
point. Yeah, something like that.
6 or 7.
Oh,
Haven't seen the Bumblebee yet.
Yeah, the first one and I guess the second one was all right, but yeah, the rest of them I could care less. Once they got rid of Megan Fox, that was it for me. Not like she was really holding it together like glue, but I'm just saying, to me, the franchise fell apart once they got rid of her.
I liked them all so far.
Well, yeah, I mean, the action is good, but the rest of it is the plot. It's just, you know. But then again, who the hell goes to see the plot? You go to see big robots turn into cars and then start shooting at each other. Yeah, at least that's what I went for.
So getting rid of Screaming LaBeouf was a plus.
Yeah, definitely.
At least with him screaming, don't think his acting was that bad as the screaming.
Nigga, you get.
Well, you know, I mean, look at it this way. If they didn't let go of him, he could have started on the next phase of his career, which was, you know, making sure that him and 4chan could keep going back and forth with playing Capture the Flag.
Yeah. That's just a great story. Like, finding the flag through amateur stellar cartography.
What,
Using the star's position to find the damn flag at night.
yeah. Oh, goodness
Even
gracious.
using the sounds of animals to try to figure out where they're from, where it's at.
Yeah.
Oh man, we gonna die now.
You can navigate by anything if you know how to do it.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. Man, if something happens, it's your fault.
Oh, I know who that is. I don't care for that show.
All right, doggy. I'll let you out now. Go ahead.
I don't believe in somebody's shit.
Damn dog. He's out there right now, bothering the damn, what's it called, chasing the hobos again.
You what? Why?
What the hell is that noise?
That is some brat from Boondocks.
Oh, okay.
What is he doing over there?
Hold on, give me 1 second.
the hell?
Okay.
Right, so I'm on the air, so please keep the noise to a minimum.
So what else do we want to talk about?
Not much really. The same old, same old. You know, same shit, different day. I was just actually, I'm curious. I was watching some of these trailers for these upcoming movies this summer. You guys got anything picked out that you want to see yet?
John Wick 3. That's my movie. I've been waiting on that movie because I've seen the first 2 and I love
Godzilla 2.
Oh man. May 21st is when John Wick 3 comes out. I haven't seen the trailer for it yet. I know they have a trailer out and I haven't had the chance to watch it.
Right now, I feel sorry for you.
I'm looking forward to Detective Pikachu and Godzilla 2.
Right.
Don't know what else is coming out this year. Oh, wait, Star Wars.
Nah, it's not that a lawsuit won't cure.
Well, I don't know. I don't really know if there's anything I might even want to see this summer. You know, I mean, like what I am looking for this summer is I was possibly looking forward to Woodstock, the new one, but I'm not sure. You know, I was thinking about going to cover it.
I'm gonna go build my own theme park with blackjack and hookers. Freaking the park.
Oh, yeah, have you heard what's going on with what's been said about the new Ghostbusters coming out next year?
No, what? Oh yeah, you were telling me the one that's being directed by Ivan Reitman's kid.
Yeah, the NPCs are pissed.
Good. Screw 'em.
Saying that this is just rewarding the demographic that acted in the worst way.
Well,
And I think they even brought in the director's race to issue, saying that this would have been a great opportunity for like some colored actor to do it.
Oh, for God's sake.
dude, the guy that played Winston is still alive.
Who? Winston who?
That was his last name, Winston. He was the black guy in the original Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, they're talking.
Three of
They're
them.
bringing up the director's race as an issue this time. So that's the actors.
We got 3 Scoobies in here.
I know, that's getting really annoying and old quick. It froze on me again. I got a notification from Yahoo, and the minute that the notification went through, it used up all the memory and it crashed the damn Hangout again.
Chunky Monkey. Who's bringing up race in this new movie?
The NPCs.
They can go suck a big, fat, floppy donkey dick.
They most likely do.
Because if they ever even watch the originals, there's a black guy in it.
No, it's about the director. They don't want a white guy doing it.
If they ever, you kind of stop mid-sentence. And
No,
then there were two.
I didn't. It was the fucking computer.
Oh, okay.
No, I said
Yes.
if they ever even tried watching the originals, there's a black guy in it. And as for a white guy directing it, well, the guy's father was the original director, so again, they can go suck a big
Yeah,
fat.
they're also big about nepotism.
What?
They're calling it nepotism that he got the job.
It's not nepotism. It has to do with fucking progeny. It was passed down to him by his father.
They don't fucking care.
Well, they can go suck dicks. This is actually how Hollywood fucking works.
He's fucking a white man.
Yeah.
So?
They're not going to be happy until they just fuck over everything. They just fuck it all up.
No, they're not gonna be satisfied till it's all black women on wheelchairs. And they're on wheelchairs because of their weight.
And this is why I want to move to fucking Illinois with Burnside, because I'm closer to goddamn Canada. So
Yeah,
that everything
Canada's
goes
not that much better off. NPCs have a tighter hold on Canada than they do in the U.S.
You know, speaking of which, speaking of Canadians, we actually had a Canadian in the chat before. He used to stream with us, Alt Mentistry. But he was in here and he was talking shit before in the chat. The reason I had found out, he's actually got shit wrong with him, this guy. Like, he's got some sort of massive head trauma or something of that nature. Either that or I forget what it was because he was telling me about it, but he used to, like, I don't know, he's got a lot of shit wrong with him, this fucking guy. I'm glad you brought up Canada. I wanted to mention it. If you see this guy in the chat...
Does he have a drinking issue too?
No. I think what it was, I think that he was molested and they beat the shit out of him, if I remember correctly, and then they molested him again. I'm not sure. I might be mixing him up with another Canadian. They're coming out of the woodwork on YouTube. But look, all I know is the one Canadian that I stream with, he's a decent looking guy and he's a bit of a drunk. He's a dead ringer for Jeff Goldblum. Then we had this other Canadian that we were bringing around, and he's got all sorts of shit wrong with him. Some sort of gangbanger or a biker or something, whatever the hell he was telling me. But yeah, he was in the chat earlier, and I know he's listening. I tried being nice to him, so if you can hear me, go fuck yourself. So.
And Alex Martin in the chat says it was Winston Zedmore.
Yes, Winston Zedmore. That was Ernie Hudson's character. You guys were talking about Ghostbusters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, Ernie Hudson was Winston Zedmore. Let me see. Dan Aykroyd was Ray Stantz. Harold Ramis was Egon Spengler.
Oh God, was he sexy?
Bill Murray was Dr. Peter Venkman. Let me see. Rick Moranis was Louis Tully. Annie Potts was Janine Melnitz. Oh, Christ, I can never remember his name. The redhead who played Peck.
The redhead who played who?
Walter Peck, the guy who blew up the friggin' containment unit when he had Con Edison shut it down.
Oh. I just remember Sigourney Weaver's in both of them.
Yes, she played Dana Barrett. You know what? That's something actually that I could do. Oh, damn it, dog! You scared the shit out of me. I'm not used to this Chihuahua with its high voice.
William Atherton. William Atherton played Walter Peck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can never remember his name. He's a great actor, though. You know, that's actually something I was thinking I could start doing. Once the weather gets nicer, since I'm probably going to be in Manhattan a lot for other things. I was thinking maybe different movies. I could go. I could actually go and film the firehouse from Ghostbusters. I could go to the actual building that It doesn't really look like it did in Ghostbusters. Dana Barrett's building. That's not real. That was actually they painted that onto the celluloid. They painted it on into the frame. It didn't really look like that. It didn't exist.
And Kel also Ivan Reitman directed and produced this movie.
Yeah, he also in the '90s he did Evolution. He just took the same formula and worked it in a different direction instead of ghosts used aliens. Yeah, that's one of the reasons Evolution was watchable.
It
Look,
sure
you know,
better than playing God.
Seriously, I mean, you think about Ivan Reitman's movies. You watch Ghostbusters, you watch Evolution. The theme is almost the same. They're just enjoyable movies, front to back. Like, honestly, I feel bad saying this. Other than those three movies, I couldn't tell you anything else off the top of my head that I remember he directed. Did he do the one? It was The Pickle with Danny Aiello. Did you guys ever see that movie?
No, I don't know.
It was a comedy, The Pickle. And what it was, he was a director, Danny Aiello, and he wants to make like a Shakespearean movie. But it was the movie The Pickle was a spoof on James and the Giant Peach. What it's supposed to be is he's directing a movie about this giant pickle.
He directed Meatballs in
Where art thou,
1979.
Pickle Rick?
He directed Stripes in 1981, Ghostbusters in 1984, Twins in 1988, Kindergarten Cop in 1990, Dave.
Oh, that was the guy from Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
Holy
Ivan
shit.
Reitman directed Kindergarten Cop in the 1990 film. He directed the movie Dave in 93 and Junior in 94. Reitman has also served as a producer for such films as Beethoven in 1992, Up in the Air in 2009, and let's see. He also did, yes, he did 6 Days, 7 Nights in 1998, Evolution in 2001, My Super Ex-Girlfriend in 2006, and No Strings Attached in 2011. He directed and produced these.
I like My Super Ex-Girlfriend.
That was funny, actually.
Let's see.
Fucking
He also helped produce animated film Heavy Metal in 1981, as well as live action film Space Hunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone in 1983, Beethoven 92, Beethoven Second in 93, Space Jam 96, Howard Stern's film Private Parts in 97, Road Trip in 2000, Old School 2003, Euro Trip in 04, and Trailer Park Boys the movie in 06.
Wow. So basically, the closest thing this man had to what could even be considered a bomb, probably the second half of Stripes, because I felt once they did the whole thing at the parade and everything, that's where I felt the movie should have ended instead of going over to Europe and driving around in that stupid SUV. But yeah, I don't think there's one bad movie you just named.
Right.
For the first time in my life, I'm truly happy.
It says also, let's see, he produced the comedy I Love You Man in 2009, starring Paul Rudd and Jason Segel. He produced the Academy Award-nominated film Up in the Air, directed by his son Jason Reitman. Later, Reitman planned to direct the erotic thriller Chloe in 2009, but he couldn't attract the cast he wanted, so Reitman decided to only serve as a producer and asked Adam...
Hey, Mechanic.
Hey, Scoob.
Hey, Mechanic.
Hey.
He asked Adam Agoyan to direct the film. Let's see. Chloe has since enjoyed commercial success and became Agoyan's biggest moneymaker ever. Reitman also co-produced the biological film Hitchcock, which was released in 2012. He also directed the 2014 sports drama Draft Day, starring Kevin Costner. Unmade and upcoming projects in the early 1980s, Tom Mankiewicz wrote a script for a film entitled The Batman, with Reitman attached to direct. Let's see. In April of 96, it was reported Reitman was attached to produce and possibly direct a Wonder Woman film. However, 3 years later, he passed the project on to writer John Cohen and left for unknown reasons. And it says, in March 2007, New York Magazine, citing no sources, stated that Sony Pictures Entertainment wanted to replace Reitman on Ghostbusters 3 with a younger director, but the Reitman's original contract precluded this.
I remember they were trying to make Ghostbusters 3 for a while, and it just went into development hell, if I remember.
It says in early 2010, it appeared as if Reitman would direct the film, but in September of 2014, after Harold Ramis's death, Paul Feig was officially set to direct the new film, which was released in 2016 as a reboot of the franchise.
And it completely blew skunk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I seen the trailer for it in the theaters, and I remember watching the movie, the trailer, and by the time it got to the Janine character, that's when I was like, oh, okay, they flipped everything. That's literally how I put it when I seen it. I'm like, all right, they flipped everything. I'll check this out. And that was when I first started to find out that they were doing this with everything. Like, you know, people were like, really? It took you that long to figure out it was Ghostbusters, was the canary in the coal mine for you? But I didn't know it was going to be as naked as it was when they sat there and they were talking about the movie, and they're talking about the audience and how stupid the audience is and how stupid the fans are and how stupid everyone is that has testosterone. And I'm like, wow, thank you for ruining the movie I was actually interested in going to see. They did the same thing with Rogue One. They did the same thing with The Last Jedi. I've said, I would have actually went and seen all these movies in the theaters if they kept the fucking actors and everybody to keep their politics to themselves and keep them away from the camera. Because I'm not going to sit there and pay money to go see a movie when you come out and you say, "Oh, the First Order is actually a white supremacist movement," and I'm sitting there like, how the fuck is it white supremacist? There's aliens in there. Not to mention people of color, but this is just what they're pushing. So,
Don't think there's any aliens in the First Order, but there is a black. There are colored people in First Order.
right, I'm just saying, I'm sure there's aliens in it. I'm sure there's got to be at least one or two. I mean, they can't all be human.
Oh, this is
Well, that
cool.
was kind of the Empire's thing, is that they were really racist against other species.
Oh, this is cool. Ghostbusters was written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was originally supposed to take place in the future, and I think it was Bill Murray told him, like, why don't you guys place it in the modern world and make it where, like they're doing like a job like exterminators or plumbers.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think it was groundbreaking. I mean, if they were to make a movie about like the future back then, I mean, it would have been so horrible by today's standards. Everyone would have just been wearing those stupid silver jumpsuits with the big ass white V on the front. So,
You know that Dan Aykroyd owns House of Blues.
yeah. Well, he is one of the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, that's his restaurant.
Yeah. Never been in there myself.
I have. I've been to the one in Myrtle Beach, and I've been to the ones in California.
Is there one in New York? I don't think there is.
Let's see. House of Blues.
I was by the Hard Rock the other day when I was walking.
Locations. Let's see. House of Blues is a chain of live music halls and restaurants in major markets throughout the United States. House of Blues' first location was in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Harvard Square. It opened in 1992 by Isaac Tigrett, co-founder of Hard Rock Cafe, and Dan Aykroyd, co-starred in the 1980 film The Blues Brothers. Let's see. They have 12 locations. The one in San Diego, Fenway Park in Boston, West Hollywood. Actually, that location is, they finally closed that one down. Downtown Disney in Anaheim, I've been to that one. They have one in Myrtle Beach. I've been to that one. They have one at Disney Springs in Florida, and actually two in Disney Springs in Florida. That's the... and then they have one in the French Quarter, Greater New Orleans, Chicago, I said Myrtle Beach, Greater Orlando, Las Vegas, Cleveland, San Diego, Dallas, Fort Worth Metroplex, Houston, Boston, and Los Angeles. Let's see. But it says former... the Greater Boston, it closed in 2003. The Metropolitan Los Angeles one, on the Sunset Strip, it closed in 2015. It says the one in downtown Disney closed in 2016. The one in Atlanta, this one, it closed. It says rebranded as the Tabernacle in 97. But that one's closed. And Atlantic City, that one closed in 2014. But they have affiliated venues. In Anaheim called the Parish. Atlanta, there's 3 locations: Buckhead Theater, the Roxy, and the Tabernacle. Boston has 3 locations: Brighton Music Hall, Paradise Rock Club, and Orpheum. Boston, Charlotte, the Fillmore, Underground, and Aragon. Cincinnati, Bogarts, Cambridge Room, in Cleveland, and also in Dallas, the Fillmore Denver, Marquis Theater in Denver, Moon Room, and Summit all in Denver. Oh shit! 1, 2, 3. 3 locations in Detroit. St. Andrews Hall, the Fillmore Detroit, and the Shelter. Grand Rapids, 20 Monroe Live. Houston, Revention Music Center. Houston, Bronze Peacock. Indianapolis, the Murat Theater. Los Angeles, 2 locations. Hollywood Palladium and Wiltern Theater. Louisville, 2 locations. The Louisville Palace and Mercury Ballroom. Madison, the Orpheum Theater. Miami, the Fillmore Miami Beach. Minneapolis, Varsity Theater. New Orleans, the Parish. New York City, they have 3 locations. Grand Mercy Theater, Irving Plaza, and Theater at Westbury. Philadelphia has 3 locations. Punchline, Fillmore, and Tower Theater. Phoenix has 2 locations. Comerica Theater and the Van Buren. Raleigh, the Ritz, Riverside. Oh, fuck. Damn. I'm not going through the rest of these. Y'all can look it up.
Found out of breath there, Queen.
I am. There's a lot of affiliated venues that are tied to the House of Blues. But a lot of them, if you go to any concerts, they're standing room. Which ain't too bad, but it is, but it's not.
Standing room only.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fuck that. Went to too many concerts like that. Hell, my eardrums are probably busted.
But like the food there at the House of Blues, oh my goodness. It is very delicious. It's very good. And it's like,
Definitely gotta go there.
yeah, it's awesome. Like,
Personally, I preferred home-cooked food.
Yeah, same here. But if I'll try something if I'm out and about.
let's see.
We got Rich in the chat. Hey, Rich, how are you?
Hey, Rich.
Hey, Rich.
Let's see.
Well, it's nice that all those idiots left.
Oh, because I banned them all.
Bunch of morons.
I hit them all.
What were you expecting, Scoob?
I don't know, some modicum of class and restraint. These fucking dipshits show up and they start playing around in the chat, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, why are they all here? And I read what this idiot wrote. I'm like, wow.
What did he write?
Wow. Yeah, he's just an idiot.
That's adorable, but this is grown-up time, and I'm the man.
You know they're doing a counter stream.
Oh, let them. Who cares?
Oh, I don't know. I'm betting they are.
Oh, yeah, that's what they're doing. Oh, well, we'll do a counter stream and we're going to steal all his viewers. Anyone who's here is here to watch us anyway because they come for the show. So, what, they're going to steal like the 4 or 5 people that come regularly? You know? I mean, we had it up to where we were getting 20 viewers, but the problem is then they went around and they started spreading lies about us. So, people, especially about me, so people stopped watching, you know? They thought I was doing everything from human trafficking to, I don't know, smuggling and contraband or some shit. They were really going to the boards to smear my name. I thought it was kind of funny. I mean, kind of flattered that they put in so much effort, but whatever. I mean, for God's sake, I used to work the door at a bar. I'm used to people saying nasty shit. I'm used to, like, some asshole would come up and he tried to impress these girls, and he would, hand you a picture, and you unfold the thing, and you look, and he drew a picture of you looking like a gorilla hanging off of the lamppost in front of the bar. You get shit like that. I used to actually get heckled by, like, you'd have artists that would come and do that shit. Then you'd have, like, you throw somebody out, so they'd send their hippie friend, and the asshole stands at the end of the street playing his guitar, and he wrote a song about you. You'd have shit like that happen. Seriously. Oh, God, I hated working a door. Don't ever work a door in New York if you don't have a sense of humor. Because the weirdos come out of the woodwork.
Oh,
What do you
now
work a
I want to
door?
work a door. Now
Yeah.
I want to work the door at a bar in New York.
Oh, it is
What's working a
interesting.
door?
Huh?
What's working a door?
Being the
go up to
bouncer.
Yeah, you go up to the bar to go in, and the guy stops and says, "Do you have ID?"
Ah,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you're the fucking bouncer. The
yeah.
guy everyone hates.
The gatekeeper.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to state is, like, I had the Tara.
Yeah.
That masculine girl who yelled at me. What was her name? She's really butch looking. Oh yeah, Kadunt. When she was lacing into me, Irv said to me afterwards, you know, he's like, "How could you just stand there and take it when she's lacing into you?" I told him, "Well, you know, Irv, I've heard people say shit like that to me thousands of times before. And you know what happens at the end of the speech? What I would say to them?" He goes, "What?" I'd say to them, "You're still not getting in without ID."
Kadunk wink kaplunk. It was too tempting.
You know, but
Man, and you made me cry.
I don't know, man. Seriously, I mean, are they really that bored? I mean, I go and I
Yes.
look. I went to turn on the chat, and I go and I look, and there's this fucking AP sitting in my chat, and I'm looking. I'm thinking to myself, why? It's Friday night. You have your own stream. You really are this obsessed that you have to show up here? Like, it's one of those things. I don't particularly care, but I'm genuinely starting to feel bad for the guy. It's not healthy to be obsessed like this. You know?
No, it's not, but it's funny.
It is, but he already gave himself a heart attack. You know, I really, the last thing I need is this guy to get himself so worked up, you know.
He gives himself another myocardial infarction.
No, I'm worried about it being more severe this time. You know, like,
Yeah, I think what he had was like a mild heart attack. It was a heart attack, but it wasn't massive. Like, he would still be in the hospital if it was a massive heart attack.
you know, I'm honestly thinking about doing it. I got to talk to my mother and a few other people, see if I can get my father's literature, because my father actually had 6 bypass open heart surgery. And then he had his aorta. They had to remove, like, a little bit later on, cartilage about the size of a paper towel roll. He had no, not cartilage, excuse me, calcium. Calcium built up in his aorta.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, just to show, and I'm being sincere about this too, I was actually thinking of looking up these doctors because they're at Winthrop University up over in Mineola. They're like the top heart doctors on the planet. I was actually thinking of sending the information to Gargoyle Boy to make sure that he could actually get his heart taken care of properly.
It would be wasted effort. He
No,
would
I
just
know
take
that.
it as an insult. And then he'd go on some tangent
And, you know, that's the sad thing, is I can't, even though I'd like to actually do the right thing and do nice by this person, because this is the thing. On the one hand, oh yeah, I'd like to punch him until he's even uglier. But on the other hand,
I don't think that's possible.
yeah, right. But on the other hand, I genuinely feel bad for him because I think that he's actually got like really like undocumented crippling obsessive compulsive personality disorder or obsessive compulsive disorder in general. You know, and I'm sorry, I am compassionate, even though this person has been doing all this horrible shit and saying horrible things about my poor elderly mother and horrible shit about my father. Part of me wonders, and part of me is convinced that there's just something wrong with AP. I honestly think that, I don't know if it's just like he has mental problems or if his personality is, you know, like this because of a certain thing. I mean, you know, let's look at a scenario. Maybe his, all right, let's throw out a scenario here. I don't know how much truth there is to it. Maybe one of the parents was a hard worker and the other parent was a drinker. That's one scenario you can look at. Or there's another scenario. Maybe his parents ignored him and he needed a lot of attention. Or maybe it was just he struck out with girls a lot or whatever. But this sick fixation and this need that he has to destroy me, I really feel bad for him. Because I honestly don't care. But I'm not a complete bastard. I am compassionate enough to be like, wow, this poor guy is driving himself nuts and I'm the cause. I feel bad for him. I can't help it. That's just my nature. I can't honestly completely hate the guy because I'm convinced that he's crazy. He's
completely nuts.
Yeah. And I can't really have hatred towards somebody who's, a nutbar like that. I mean, the guy's completely off his fucking rocker.
Nut bar.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'm. Thank you. My heart does honestly go out to him, and I'd like to say this. I don't talk about the man because I honestly have never met him or spoken to him myself. But AP's partner, Gasly, I guess his former partner, they broke up or whatever it was. I honestly feel for this guy out of anybody. Like, he's the one no one talks about. Like, him and AP apparently were like best friends since they were kids. I really do feel for this poor guy that, you got somebody you care about and they're that lost within their own head. Like, I really do have nothing but a great swell of pity and sympathy for AP. I mean, it's the same thing with, like, Sylvanas. I have a very, very great swell of pity for her because it's got to be horrible to live like that. I mean, this poor girl, I've always thought that Sylvanas in a pixie-ish sort of way. I think she's very cute. She's a very pretty girl. She can even be striking or beautiful when she does herself up. And she's a polyglot. She speaks, I think, something like 16 or 18 languages. And she sits in her house all day and does this shit. Why? It's one of those things. You have so much going for you. Why don't you get out and...
They have nothing better to do.
That's so sad.
She's a walking universal translator.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She speaks all these languages, and she's a very pretty girl. I don't understand why she just sits in her house all day eating ramen noodles and wearing her fucking fake ears and playing anime AMV videos or whatever the hell she does all day. I don't know. I mean, I see a lot of these people, and I've talked to them, and it seems to me like they have so much other talents, and they waste it. And again, this person, she's done a lot of horrible, evil, hateful shit to me, and for no other reason than the fact that the girl wanted to fuck me. I don't understand exactly what was the point of this. All right, I'm sorry. You were married. I'm married. You left your husband for another guy, and she snookered poor Sweeper Steve to come out here. It's one of those things. Like, look, me and her had an argument. I was not going to turn on her. And, I said this last week, and I don't like to keep closing these shows every week saying, about these people who show up in the chat and say horrible things that I feel bad for them because it makes me look like a milksop, but I genuinely do. And that's the other thing, too. I mean, let's be completely honest. These morons who were in the chat tonight, if they met me in real life, they'd probably look at their feet and tremble, a lot of them. Not even because I'm that intimidating, just because they're that much of a pussy. And, they're brave because they're keyboard warriors. And they come here and they decide they're going to pick a fight with me or do whatever, and they're trying to say the most outlandish shit to get AP to do that Notice Me Senpai shit. I really do feel bad for these people because I'm not going and showing up in their chat because I don't give a fuck about them. They don't understand that. Like, the most I give a fuck is that I honestly care that they're disturbed, and I really think that they should get help. The whole lot of them. Because this shit is unhealthy. Like, I'm not paying attention to them, so they're going to come troll the chat, and what do? We just remove them from the chat and get the fuck on about our day. So, it's not even like they're accomplishing anything. They get to come and they say, oh, okay, we're going to say stupid things, and we got you, Scooby. These are like the same fucking idiots that go and switch out the cans of Coke for cans of Pepsi, and they think they got you.
Or they get the fucking drill punch, and they punch the bottom of the can, and they empty it, and they stick it back in the fridge.
Yeah. Oh, these guys aren't even that creative. These are the ones that are like, oh, we're going to switch your Coke for Pepsi. And you come home like, oh. Like, you look in the fridge, like, all right, this Pepsi. You crack the thing open and get on about your day. It's not that fucking life-altering.
Exactly. It's not that life-altering. I don't care if it's Coke or Pepsi.
So who's up for Name That Voice?
Sure.
Not really.
Bad.
I'm waiting.
We go out of here and stay out all night.
It's Peter Griffin.
Homer Simpson.
Homer Simpson. Not. What the fuck is wrong with you?
What? It sounded like Peter Griffin too.
Oh man. Give me 1 second. I gotta grab some. I'll be right back.
All right.
I think I might have a little birdie in my room here.
Like an actual bird?
Birdie I had in my bedroom was actually a fucking hummingbird.
But it's stuck behind the dresser somehow. And moving this dresser, yeah, it's solid cherry. Like, I believe it's cherry. Yeah, it's fucking heavy.
At least it's not that fucking wood they make butcher block out of.
Yeah.
I had to move a whole dresser made out of that shit. Oh, God. I hated my friend for a month.
What's butcher block?
It's literally what you cut meat on.
It's literally what it is. It's literally what it sounds like.
Butchers used to actually have a wooden table made of this stuff, and it's called a butcher block.
Okay. What's so bad about it?
It's heavy. It's heavy
solid.
as shit. It's heavy as shit. I mean, this thing must have weighed like 120 pounds. I'm not even kidding either. Must have weighed like 120 pounds. I was like, motherfucker.
It's also called, let's see.
Waiting on Scooby.
I'm here.
Okay.
Morning. I'm really smart.
Remember, you're supposed to name that voice.
I couldn't hear it.
I'm going to tell you a couple of stories.
Donald Trump.
Correct.
Got a cabbage patch where you got the POTUS up in here.
A minute, I gotta let this shit load, so.
Sure, take your time.
Jimmy. Excuse me. Give me something. Give me your son. How good's your laundry? I'd like to make a dinner reservation for 12.
Are any of you hearing this voice?
Barely.
Vaguely.
Asking if I'm back. And I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. So you can either handle
That's Keanu Reeves.
or you get done living alone.
John Wick.
It's Keanu Reeves, John Wick.
Yep.
I knew that because he's like, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. Yeah, I know that voice.
You know, that's another one of those movies where if they just didn't put in that stupid hotel and those coins, the rest of the movie was great.
No, I liked it. I liked everything.
You know what it was? I guess it's one of those things when I seen it, I was like, oh, God, now people are going to be asking me about this hotel and fucking coins when they come out here. That's honestly the one thing that went through my head. Is like, oh, I dreaded it.
Isn't John Wick one of those Democratic silencers? Those Democratic silencers scene?
Say what?
John Wick, is that the movie that had the Democrats silencer scene? Like they're in a crowded building, they're shooting at each other and no one notices?
I think. I have to, you know what it is? Because there was 2 John Wicks. I didn't see the second one yet.
Oh, you got to see the second one. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really good.
All right, you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess Dick Dawson knows what I'm talking about.
Come here and kiss me.
That's Stewie's mom.
Lois Griffin.
Yeah.
Correct.
You know, it's funny. I remember when Family Guy came out, I was going around like with the copies of it, trying to get everyone to watch it so we could get it back on the air. I remember when that came out. I was in college. They had it on during the Super Bowl, during halftime.
What?
No, after the Super Bowl. Family Guy, when it first premiered. Super Bowl 99.
Is that old?
Yeah. Family Guy came out in the 90s. People don't realize that when I tell them. I'm like, no, it came out in the 90s. It came out in 99. Super Bowl Sunday. It's like the last great thing out of the 90s, basically.
Besides all those M80 firecrackers I have.
What happened?
I still have M80 firecrackers from 99.
Aren't those like really unsafe at that point?
Yeah, probably.
Y'all ready?
That's how unsafe they are.
Here we go.
Waiting on you.
Voice.
I think that my wife is a fucking asshole.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
That one was pieced together.
I always felt bad for Ronnie. He couldn't get rid of that accent no matter how hard he tried.
The accent worked for him,
Mm-hmm.
I know.
especially in Terminator.
Well, he
I'll be
really
back.
wanted to get rid of it because Dolph Lundgren.
I'll be back.
What about Dolph Lundgren?
Dolph Lundgren got rid of his accent. He wanted to, get rid of his like, Dolph Lundgren did.
Yeah.
Because they're actually from around the same area.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren is, I believe, he's Danish.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a Dane. A lot of people don't know this either. He's like a scientist. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Who?
Yeah.
That's a
Dolph
fun one.
Lundgren, the original Punisher. He-Man.
Yeah.
Oh.
He played He-Man in the movie Masters of the Universe.
Oh, great.
Wait, He-Man played the Punisher.
Yeah, he played the Punisher and he had his hair dyed black in the movie and it looked good. But if you watch that movie, it's fucked up. In the beginning of the movie, they show him sitting there and he's like sitting in the lotus position, balls naked in the sewer, like yelling at God, like, God! Like,
You said y'all talking about Dolph Lundgren?
yeah, and the Punisher. You know, remember when I'm talking about when he had like that dojo in the sewers and he's sitting there yelling at God like he's having conversations with God.
Mm-hmm.
Did he train turtles?
Dolph is actually Swedish. He's from Sweden.
Okay, that was close.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger is from Austria.
Yeah.
All right, name that voice.
Oh, cool. Are you gonna clean the tables here too?
Cartman.
Yeah.
Correct.
Never watched South Park.
You gotta watch Cartman Goes to the Optometrist. Holy shit, is that funny?
I would rather
Yeah.
see South Park burn to the ground.
Why?
It's a retarded show. I got through maybe a minute of one episode and I'm like, nope, click.
All right, name that character.
Hey, Pox.
Hey,
Hey,
Buck.
buddy, what's
Hey,
up?
Cox.
Hey, I got a question. Why are you telling people that I'm going to snap and beat my wife because me and you are having an internet beef? Do you have any idea how retarded that is?
Hey, Tara,
Yes.
Cut the
enough?
stream.
Nah.
No?
Tara, not doing this on the air. Thank you.
Name that character.
Ooh. That was.
What the hell happened?
I am staying out of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Told me that too. You should choose your words more carefully.
The voice is very low, unfortunately.
And the fan is very loud, unfortunately.
Turn the legs, shall we? The most important you can know. A small price to pay for salvation. That was a mistake. Tell me what it means.
Oh,
Reality can be whatever I want. Pretty as
oh, that's, fuck. Ultron.
It's not Ultron.
The Mad Titan. Thanos.
There you go. Ultron
Like
and
a
Thanos.
mad
Different
idiot.
characters.
What did you say, Tara?
I said Ultron and Thanos are two different characters.
Well, yeah, it's like the line sounded like something that Ultron would have said.
Well, DC and Marvel borrow from each other all the time.
Ultron and Thanos are from Marvel.
Do what?
Ultron and Thanos are from Marvel.
I thought Ultron was from DC.
No, Avengers 2, Age of Ultron.
Oh.
Did you pull one of Roman's eyes off?
Stewie.
Correct.
You guys are very quiet.
I'm waiting on Tara.
Name this voice.
My house is nice. Yeah, I got loot right here. What's your name? Well, all right. Good for you guys. I'm just trying to earn some extra holiday cash.
Might need to change to someone else.
Yes, that of course I too already know about homosexuality.
I don't know who it is.
Well, all right. Good for you guys. I thought this through a lot.
Funny, but I don't know who the fuck it is either.
It's Halloween.
I'm waiting on Sarah.
I love you too.
I know Sarah knows this voice.
Is that the dog from Up?
No, it's not the dog from Family Guy.
No, from Up.
No.
What is the joy that this stuff possibly brings you?
Yeah,
Shit, I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Fucking asshole.
Clearly she doesn't.
You fucking piece of shit. Not Papa John's. I don't want to go to Papa John's. You can't make me go to Papa John's.
Who?
I don't.
Everyone give up?
Yes.
Yes.
It's Randy Marsh from South Park.
Oh, that's why. Oh. I haven't watched South Park in years. I just know Cartman's voice, though. And Kenny and what the hell's the other one's name?
Kyle and Stan.
Yeah.
Wait, is that a father?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
Ian Marsh's dad.
Okay.
All right, last one. Name this voice.
There's gotta be a way out of this. I'm at a boy. For wedding to the funeral. 9 months. Hey, don't worry about it. Come on, my handicap has never helped me.
Okay, did anyone else play as Buzz Lightyear in the animated series?
No, this is not Tim Allen.
Okay, so it's not like a wheelchair guy and Family Guy.
You know I can't do this.
Wait, that it? I'm pretty sure that is. Did he play the wheelchair guy and Family Guy?
No, he did not.
He sounds like him.
I know he sounds like him, but it's not him.
I gotta walk that motor off, huh?
But you still got to name the character.
Don't you worry. This will quickly turn into a problem.
Buzz Lightyear.
Not Buzz Lightyear. Fuck off.
I like it. Smile. I'm a cop.
Tick.
No, it's not fucking Tick. But same voice.
Oh.
Jerome is black. Or not. I've never been better. I was living my life all wrong. But not anymore. No more thinking. Just living. You look
Trump.
like a little red. Maybe you ought to put some sunblock on it.
No, it's not Trump and you know it.
I said Crunk.
No.
There's nothing we can do about it.
Wrong lever.
Is it comics?
It is a cartoon.
Thank you all for coming. I'm sorry I got so hot-headed. Not a chance.
Scooby should know this one.
Wow.
What?
The guy from the Smokey the Bear commercial on the radio.
Really? You think so?
Oh, sorry.
I'm handicapped.
Scooby should know who this character is and what cartoon.
Turns out Dr. Hartman's elbow was pressing on my spinal cord, and that's what was causing my total paralysis.
Hold on, is that what's his name? Oh my god, what is that name? Oh shit, don't tell me.
Buzz Lightyear.
No, it's not. I know that. He was on a CBS show.
Wow, that seems pretty good.
This is completely amusing to me.
She's really gone. She took little Susie with her.
I know that. I know his voice. Oh, just don't say it yet.
No, I guess she left it here.
He was on Willis from Family Guy.
Oh my god, what is that damn show?
I can tell you from experience, it's only when your worst fears come true that you get to find out how strong you are.
Patrick Warburton. He plays. That's his voice.
What's the character's name?
He played in a cartoon.
Yes.
What's going on with you guys?
Google!
Okay. Is it
No,
cartoon as it come on TV or a cartoon movie?
It's on TV. Scooby should know this.
What?
I'm not the guy who violated the sanctity of someone else's marriage.
He played. No.
Oh, that's Joe from Family Guy.
Yes.
That's Patrick Warburton does do the voice though.
Okay. And it's 12:04. Time to end the show, Scooby.
So that was the guy that was on the wheelchair.
Yes.
I said that! After Buzz Lightyear, I said the guy
Yeah,
on the
he
wheelchair
did.
and Family Guy.
Yeah,
You do.
but I said name the character. You have to name the fucking character.
How the fuck I don't know the name of that damn show?
Well, aren't you? That's why Scooby got it, and Sarah didn't, even though she named the voice. Rules be
Meanwhile,
rules,
I'm over
bitches.
here. And meanwhile, I'm sitting over here having the time of my life.
Scooby, you ready to end the show?
Yeah. All right, you guys know the deal. If you have anything to shill, let's go through it. Let's see, what do we got here? So, Kelt, do you have anything to shill?
No.
All right, then. Mechanic, you got anything to shill?
Not tonight.
Okay. Sarah, you got anything to shill?
No, I don't have anything.
This is easy. Tara, do you have anything to shill?
I'm Tara Sin, your favorite cyber bitch. You can find me on pretty much any social media. Burnside's still in the doghouse because he has not made the videos I needed him to make. So I'm still trying to set up with Six so he can teach me how to use Shotcut. Fucking scheduling is a bitch. So Burnside is hosting tomorrow night and Sunday night, and then it's back to me on Monday. So have a great night.
Good night, all. Take care.
Bye.